And the first time I was back in Auschwitz-Birkenau, I said I was never here. The grass is green, the trees are blooming, deers running in the background.
I began to imagine how my mother must have felt walking into the gas chamber with my 6-year-old brother. I was devastated. I was totally devastated.
No matter how many times I've been back, I cannot think of anything else except this terrible feeling that I had in those first few minutes when we were pushed out of the cattle cars.
After liberation, I had only the wish not to remember. I had nightmares.
I keep thinking, how could this have ever happened?
It's 70 years since the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau by Soviet troops on January 27th, 1945. Auschwitz-Birkenau, it was a factory of death. It was meant not just to murder people, but to destroy their souls.
It's an eerie feeling to walk through Auschwitz-Birkenau, the place where 1.1 million Jews were murdered, but now stands for people to go and visit as a historical site.
I remember being really shocked as I couldn't believe how huge the place was. It was like another world, a very terrifying world.
Some of the hardest things to see were the displays of human hair. You realize this came from living people. I burst into tears.
They have the shoes of the children, and it's the little red shoes that stick out that still hold such vibrant colors, and you would know that those shoes were worn by a child with the same spirit. There's always a shiver in my spine when I speak about it.
It's one thing to read about Auschwitz-Birkenau, to read about the Holocaust, but when you stand in this place of enormous suffering, you feel two things. You feel so humbled by what these people went through. You begin to realize that no matter what challenges you have had in your life, they pale in comparison to what the prisoners went through. And you realize, without any false modesty, I could not have survived for a day in that camp. For a moment, physically or psychologically, I would not have survived for even a day. And what those people went through is beyond belief.
I am originally from Hungary, from the city of Debrecen. I was deported along with the rest of my family members, and we arrived in Auschwitz-Birkenau. I turned 16 years old in the shadow of the gas chambers.
We were shipped via boxcars, cattle cars to Auschwitz. Took us 3 days, 3 nights. And immediately upon arrival, I got separated from my mom. When I cried out after her turned and looked at me, and that was the last time I saw my mom.
My parents did not survive. My one brother that I had did not survive. Grandparents on both sides did not survive. Many cousins and uncles and aunts.
My entire family were gassed in Birkenau. I keep thinking of my little sister, she was only 9 months old, and my mother, who gave birth to 4 children, and she had to suffer a collective death with her children in a gas chamber. This I can never forget, and I can never forgive.
As a 13-year-old kid, it was a terrifying experience. I came back to the barracks and met my father, and I told him that I was just told about the gas chambers, the crematoria, and what's happening to the people, and what probably happened to my mother and my sister. And my father looked at me in Auschwitz in 1944 and said, "This cannot be true. These are German people, the height of culture, the people of Beethoven, Schumann, and Goethe. These people cannot be so inhuman."
Auschwitz can happen anywhere, in any generation, in any country, to any people. Whether it's a Rwandan genocide, or the Cambodian genocide, or went on in Darfur, Auschwitz is a permanent reminder to the world of the terrible evil that lurks in the hearts of some human beings. And it's also a reminder to the good people to stand up and be counted and take a stand against this evil.
I think it's tremendously important that we honor the anniversary of the liberation. Honoring the anniversary is helping people heal, because it's helping people remember and understand what happened.
That is my mission, that people will remember and people will know.
If the memory dies, if the historical context and events leading up to the Holocaust are forgotten, then people aren't going to be able to recognize if and when they do appear again, and to take action to try and stop it.
I have a lot of hope for the future generation.